There are truths that empower a woman, and there are truths that expose her. What you reveal can either preserve your destiny or slowly drain your strength. Tonight, you will discover 3 things a woman must never reveal, not even to family, if she wants to walk in wisdom, honor, and lasting influence. Miss this, and you may spend years repairing what words destroyed. There is a difference between being open and being exposed. Many women confuse honesty with wisdom and vulnerability with discernment. Life has taught us that not everyone who loves you is equipped to carry everything about you. Some revelations invite help, but others invite limitation. Some words attract covering, but others attract control. And many destinies have been delayed not by enemies, but by loose conversations in safe places. This teaching is not about secrecy born from fear. It is about wisdom born from understanding human nature, spiritual laws, and emotional boundaries. If you understand what to reveal, when to reveal, and what to guard, you will preserve your peace, your honor, and your future. Stay with this teaching until the end, because the final insight may explain why certain battles in your life refuse to end. A woman must understand that her emotional wounds are not ordinary stories. They are sensitive information. Pain carries history, context, vulnerability, and unfinished processes. When a woman reveals the full depth of her wounds to everyone, she unintentionally hands people access to her inner world without giving them responsibility for her healing. Not everyone who listens is an intercessor. Not everyone who nods understands. And not everyone who sympathizes has the capacity to cover what they hear. Many people listen not to heal, but to interpret, to analyze, and sometimes to define you by your lowest moments. There is a difference between seeking help and seeking relief through talking. Relief feels good temporarily, but wisdom looks for restoration. Emotional wounds require discernment, timing, and the right vessel. When wounds are exposed prematurely or carelessly, they become open doors for misunderstanding. People may not intend harm, yet their limited perception can turn your private pain into public opinion. Suddenly, your struggle becomes your identity in their eyes. You are no longer seen as a woman in process, but as a problem to be discussed. Pain spoken in the wrong environment does not lose power, it multiplies influence. Some people lack the emotional maturity to handle another person's brokenness without becoming overwhelmed, judgmental, or controlling. Others may unconsciously weaponize what they hear. What you once shared in tears may later be repeated in frustration, advice, or comparison. This is not always because people are evil, but because information without wisdom is dangerous. The heart was not designed to be exposed to everyone, it was designed to be stewarded. A woman must realize that vulnerability is not equal to wisdom. Vulnerability without discernment leads to regret. There are seasons when silence is not denial but self-respect. Guarding your wounds does not mean you are pretending to be strong. It means you are allowing strength to be built in privacy. Healing often requires quietness, not noise. Growth happens in environments where your pain is not used as entertainment, conversation, or leverage. Many women reveal their wounds hoping to be understood, but understanding is rare. Even family members, though loving, interpret pain through their own fears, experiences, and expectations. What broke you may be minimized. What traumatized you may be spiritualized incorrectly. What requires patience may be rushed. In such moments, a woman learns that love does not automatically mean capacity. Someone can care deeply and still be unequipped to carry the weight of your story. Emotional wounds should be handled like sacred ground. There are people assigned to your healing, and there are people assigned only to your journey. Confusing the two leads to disappointment. The right listeners do not rush you, do not reduce you, and do not broadcast you. They listen with responsibility, not curiosity. They speak with wisdom, not urgency. They cover you in prayer, not just advice. Such people are few, and wisdom helps you recognize them. When wounds are repeatedly exposed, they begin to shape behavior. A woman may start acting from pain instead of healing. She may over-explain, over-defend, or over-apologize. The narrative of her life slowly shifts from purpose to pain. What was meant to be processed becomes a personality. Guarding your wounds protects your future self from being trapped in your past experiences. There is also a spiritual dimension to emotional exposure. Pain attracts attention in both visible and invisible realms. What you constantly speak about, you give energy to. When wounds are shared indiscriminately, they remain alive because they are continually rehearsed. Wisdom understands that some battles are weakened by silence and strengthened by repetition. Healing sometimes requires withdrawing words so that restoration can occur internally. A woman who understands wisdom does not deny her pain, she directs it properly. She knows when to speak and when to wait. She understands that timing is as important as truth. A truth spoken at the wrong time can wound more deeply than a lie. Silence in such seasons becomes an act of faith. Faith that healing is possible without public validation. Faith that strength can be rebuilt quietly. Faith that not every chapter needs an audience. The ability to guard emotional wounds is not hardness of heart. It is maturity of spirit. It reflects self-awareness, boundaries, and honor for one's own process. When a woman learns to protect her wounds, she preserves her dignity, her clarity, and her authority. She chooses healing over attention, restoration over explanation, wisdom over impulse. This posture creates stability, attracts the right help, and allows transformation to occur without unnecessary interference. A woman must understand that vision is delicate in its early stages. What is still forming requires protection, not publicity. Long-term plans carry more than ideas. They carry faith, risk, timing, and unseen preparation. When a woman reveals her future strategies too early, she exposes them to voices that may not be aligned with the season of her becoming. Not every opinion is an instruction, yet premature exposure invites many voices into a process that requires clarity and focus. Vision grows best in silence before it grows in celebration. There is a season when destiny must be incubated away from applause and criticism. Many plans die not because they were wrong, but because they were announced before they were strong. A woman who speaks too early often spends unnecessary energy defending, explaining, or justifying what has not yet manifested. This drains momentum and replaces faith with pressure. Even loving family members can unknowingly weaken a vision. They speak from experience, from fear, and from a desire to protect. But protection without revelation becomes limitation. Their questions may sound reasonable, but they introduce doubt. Their concerns may appear wise, but they shift focus from possibility to probability. Vision does not require permission from people who cannot see its end. It requires alignment with purpose and obedience to timing. When plans are shared prematurely, comparison enters quietly. Others measure your vision against their own lives, their failures, and their unfinished dreams. They may encourage you to choose what is safe rather than what is significant. Over time, a woman may begin editing her destiny to fit the comfort level of those around her. What began as a bold future becomes a manageable idea, and potential is reduced to what feels acceptable. Silence is not secrecy born from fear, it is stewardship born from wisdom. A woman does not hide her plans because she doubts them, but because she honors the process required to build them. What is still under construction does not need visitors. Every interruption delays completion. Vision needs room to grow without constant explanation. Strength is developed in quiet consistency, not constant announcements. there is also a spiritual law at work. What is spoken attracts attention. When a vision is shared too early, it becomes a target before it becomes a testimony. Resistance often comes before readiness. Some battles are unnecessary, yet they are invited through premature disclosure. Wisdom understands that timing protects purpose. Silence allows preparation to be completed without distraction. A woman who guards her future plans learns to listen more than she speaks. She refines her strategy privately. She makes adjustments without public pressure. She allows mistakes to become lessons rather than public failures. Growth requires space to fail safely. When plans are private, correction is easier and discouragement is less intense. Premature revelation also creates emotional dependency. When a woman speaks her plans openly, she begins to seek affirmation to sustain belief. Over time, confidence becomes tied to external validation. If support decreases, faith weakens. Wisdom teaches that conviction must be rooted internally before it is celebrated externally. When belief is established within, opinions lose power. There is a difference between accountability and exposure. Accountability strengthens vision, exposure tests it. A wise woman selects mentors, not audiences. She seeks counsel from those who have walked further, not commentary from those who are watching from a distance. The fewer the voices, the clearer the direction. When the time is right, vision speaks for itself. Results remove the need for explanation. Success silences doubt more effectively than argument. A woman who waits to speak until there is substance preserves authority. Her words carry weight because they are backed by evidence, not intention. Guarding long-term plans preserves peace. It prevents unnecessary stress, comparison, and interference. It allows destiny to unfold naturally. Silence gives vision the time it needs to mature into strength. A woman who understands this does not rush revelation. She trusts the process. She moves quietly, builds diligently, and allows her future to arrive without being exhausted by premature conversations.